Chapter 10. Nightfall's Omen. The tension in the pack's encampment was palpable. Wolves milled about, their movements purposeful but jittery, as if they could feel the weight of an impending storm. Ava stood at the edge of the clearing, the tome pressed against her chest. Its glyphs had been dormant since the encounter in the corrupted grove, but she could still feel its power humming faintly beneath the surface, like a heartbeat. Xander emerged from the central tent, his expression grim. Behind him trailed Luca, his arm bandaged but his posture still defiant. Ava stepped forward to meet them, her stomach twisting at the looks on their faces. "What is it?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Scouts just returned," Xander said. "The darkness is advancing faster than we thought. They've taken the outer territories. Packs are abandoning their lands and retreating inward." Luca scowled, his frustration clear. "And the council is still debating whether to act. Rowan's faction is using this to push for tighter control over everyone, while Morella tries to hold things together." Ava's chest tightened. "We can't wait for the council to make up their minds. If the darkness reaches the inner packs, it'll be too late." Xander nodded, his gaze steady. "I agree. That's why we need to prepare now. Luca's leading a small group to scout the edges of the corrupted grove. We need to confirm if it's where the darkness is concentrating its forces." Ava's fingers tightened around the tome. "I'm coming with you." Xander's eyes narrowed. "No, you need to stay here where it's safe." "Safe?" Ava snapped, her frustration spilling over. "Did you see what happened back there? The darkness isn't stopping, and I'm the one who has the power to fight it. Keeping me out of the way doesn't help anyone." Luca smirked faintly, his approval evident, though he quickly masked it when Xander shot him a glare. After a long moment, Xander sighed, pinching the bridge of his nose. "Fine," he said. "But you stay close to me and you follow my orders. Understood?" Ava nodded. "Understood." They set out at dusk, the forest shrouded in an eerie stillness. The air was heavy, carrying the faint scent of decay. Ava walked between Xander and Luca, her senses on high alert. The whispers from the tome had returned, faint and fragmented, their meaning just out of reach. "You feel that?" Luca asked, his voice low. Ava nodded. "It's like the forest is holding its breath." Xander scanned the shadows, his golden eyes sharp. "The darkness is close. Stay focused." They moved cautiously, their footsteps muffled by the thick undergrowth. As they approached the edge of the corrupted grove, the trees grew more twisted, their bark blackened and oozing a tar-like substance. The ground beneath their feet was damp, each step accompanied by a faint squelch that sent shivers down Ava's spine. Luca held up a hand, signaling them to stop. He crouched, inspecting the ground. "Tracks," he murmured. "Fresh. They're heading east." Ava peered over his shoulder, her stomach twisting as she saw the claw marks gouged into the soil. They weren't just tracks. They were signs of a struggle. "Do you think it's one of the missing scouts?" Xander's jaw tightened. "Maybe. Let's move." They followed the trail, the oppressive atmosphere growing heavier with each step. The whispers in Ava's mind grew louder, forming fragments of sentences she couldn't fully grasp. Her grip on the tome tightened as its glyphs began to glow faintly, casting a silvery light on the darkened path. The trail ended abruptly in a small clearing. In the center stood a lone figure, hunched and motionless. Ava's breath caught as the figure turned, its eyes glowing a sickly yellow. The once human features were distorted, its body twisted by the corruption. "It's one of the scouts," Luca said, his voice tinged with sorrow. "What's left of him." The corrupted scout let out a guttural snarl, its movements jerky and unnatural. It lunged at them faster than Ava had expected. Xander moved to intercept, his fists colliding with the creature's chest, in a burst of force that sent it staggering back. "Stay behind me," Xander barked, his voice sharp. Ava barely had time to react as another corrupted wolf burst from the trees, its maw wide and snapping. Luca slashed at it with his blade, his movements precise and practiced. The creature let out a piercing howl, its body disintegrating into ash under the force of his strike. Ava's heart pounded as she focused on the tome. The whispers coalesced into a single command: "Unleash the light." She opened the book, its glyphs flaring to life. A beam of silver light erupted from its pages, engulfing the corrupted scout. The creature let out a final agonized cry before collapsing, its body crumbling into dust. The forest fell silent, the oppressive weight lifting slightly. Ava's knees buckled, and she sank to the ground, the tome slipping from her hands. Xander and Luca rushed to her side, their faces etched with concern. "Are you okay?" Xander asked, his voice urgent. Ava nodded weakly. I think so. The tome, it knew what to do." Luca picked up the book, his expression both wary and impressed. "Whatever that was, it's powerful, but it's draining you. You need to be careful." Xander helped her to her feet, his grip steady. "We need to get back to the camp. The council needs to hear about this." Ava glanced back at the clearing, her gaze lingering on the spot where the corrupted scout had stood. The darkness was growing stronger, but so was the light. For the first time she felt a flicker of hope. Whatever lay ahead, she wouldn't face it alone.